Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone. I don't know if we're running on our main channel or not tonight. Just checking in. Let's see if we've got a feed. Yes, we are. Okay, so we're in good shape. We're firing on all cylinders, and we have protests in the streets and political rallies over in the UK, and we have clavicular. Well, some people say he's in trouble, and I say, no, he's not really. He's just a young guy who did something that appears to be problematic for him, but in reality, I think it's something entirely different. So, we'll get into all of that, starting with today's No Kings protests across the United States, which some people say are the they're saying, I don't know if it's true, there's no way to know really, but they're saying it's the biggest protest in U.S. history, bigger than anything ever before. We'll show you what happened today. You can make up your own mind when we come back on the other side.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, so we'll also give you the most up-to-the-minute information on what's happening with these wars tonight as well, and the impact that it is having on oil prices, and it is not looking good, I'll tell you that. It reminds me in many ways of what happened back in the 70s. I remember the gas lineups and the rationing. We've been here before, folks. This time might even be worse than it was back then. We'll see how it goes. And all of that destabilization is what has been fueling these protests today in large part. I think a lot of people upset that the United States has plunged the world into another war in the Middle East. And it's not just the United States. This is affecting the entire global economy. Here's what it looked like on the streets today, with the focal point being Minnesota, I believe. And as I say, people saying that these were the biggest protests in U.S. history. And again, you know what, man? Like, as I look at this, this is real as far as I know. But people are I don't know anymore. I question everything I see, especially anything on X or Twitter. But yeah, I think it's real. But these things have become, this is obviously Chicago, but I don't know. I don't know. So I caution you on everything that you see anymore. I do know that this stuff is real. Let me just see if yeah, okay, let's go to this. The protests, of course, today highlighted by speeches, especially speeches from labor leaders. And here we go. AFL-CIO.
Families across the country. Organized labor is pushing back here in the Twin Cities and in the halls of power. To speak about that resistance, please welcome President Liz Shuler of the AFL-CIO, President Randy Weingarten of the American Federation of Teachers, and President of the SEIU, April Verrett.
Hello, Minnesota! I'm Liz Shuler, President of the AFL-CIO, America's labor unions. Do we have worker power out there today? That's what I thought. I'm so proud to stand up here alongside my union sisters, Randy and April, bringing the voices of 15 million workers across 65 unions and every worker in this country. That's right. Over and over this past year, we've seen this administration try to divide us as working people. Whether or not we were born here, whether we were blue collar, white collar, gay, straight, trans, black, white, Latino. They try to divide us because they could not be more afraid. They could not be more afraid of what happens when we stop looking to the left and to the right and we start looking at them. When 3 rich people have more money than half the rest of us in this country, does that work for working people? Hell no. When CEOs are making $90 million a year while their workers can't afford groceries, does that work for working people? Hell no. When everything in this country is so damn expensive and Trump's answer is to cut the taxes of his billionaire friends, is that a country that works for working people? Hell no. No Kings is about standing up to the guy in the White House. But No Kings also means tearing down an economy by and for billionaires and instead building it up for working people. More money in our pockets, because no one in the richest country on earth should struggle to get by. More time off to spend with our friends, family, kids, and loved ones. Equal pay for Black and Latina women who are still making 58 cents on the dollar. Because opportunity in this country should not depend on the color of your skin.
Okay, so let's go to Boston. This is what it looked like there today. Some people saying that the protest there was twice the size that it was last year. I'll show you, and you can assess if you happen to see it last year. I don't know, because I'm also seeing competing narratives on the conservative side or the Republican side. They're saying the whole thing was a flop, of course. So it's a tale of two narratives, as always.
Told backstage that they were estimating today's crowd at 200,000. It was 100,000 last time. Hell yeah! I don't know if it's true. That's just what they told me. Anyway, you know what? You know what the Dropkick Murphys would like to bring to this event and to all these protests? A little less kumbaya and a little more, we're sick of this bullshit! Yeah! Who's sick of this bullshit? All right. You guys all good? We good? All right. Well, ironically, the first song we're going to play, we debuted at the first No Kings protest back in April, and it wasn't even out yet. It was the first time we played it live, I believe, and now it's been out for a little while, and why don't we start with that one? It's called Who'll Stand With Us? Are you with us?
And we're just going to dump out of that and go back to Minnesota and Tim Walz, who today J.D. Vance is saying...
The people of Minnesota, with our whistles, with our cell phones, doing everything we can to stop the federal government's invasion of our homes.
Scandal of...
Everything we can to stop authoritarianism.
Somali
Now, Jewish people will tell the story this week around our Passover tables of our ancestors leaving the narrowness of oppression as an Erev Rav, as a multiracial...
Let me just get you to Walz's speech. Here we go.
Welcome to the freest state in the nation. A state where you love who you choose to love. A state where you make your healthcare decisions. A state where you worship or not according to your own beliefs. And maybe most importantly, a state where everyone belongs. Thank you to all the organizers. Thank you to our sisters and brothers in labor for the work you do every day and being here making this possible. Look, when the wannabe dictator in the White House sent his untrained, aggressive thugs to do damage to Minnesota, it was you, Minnesota, who stood up for your neighbors, who stood up for decency, who stood up for kindness. And at this moment that we are still in, when democracy itself seems to be at risk, it was Minnesota who said, not on our watch, not on our watch. You are the heart and soul of what the nation saw that is good in this nation. But make no mistakes about it. They did damage. They killed Renee and Alex. They traumatized our neighbors. And just be very clear, our weather may be a little cool, but our people are warm and we're fierce. And my message, because this is not over, don't ever mistake our kindness for weakness. We demand justice for Renee Good and Alex Preddy. We demand justice for every single person who was hurt or traumatized. We will never forget what they did here. And I have a message to our immigrant community here in Minnesota. You are seen, heard, valued, and loved. You add value to our state. You are part of the fabric of what is good about Minnesota. And I have to tell you, that is a hell of a lot more than I'll say about anybody in the White House. And I will add a special thank you and a special acknowledgement that we will never leave the side of our Somali Minnesotans. Here's our pledge to you. Our Somali Minnesotans, your great-grandchildren will still be here when that orange clown is in the dustbin of history. You will be here. They call us radicals. I see that the president said it's a bunch of radicals. You're damn right we've been radicalized. Radicalized by compassion, radicalized by decency, radicalized by due process, radicalized by democracy, and radicalized to do all we can to oppose authoritarianism. So for those of you watching at home, welcome to the North Star State. Welcome to the land of hope and dreams. And it's my pleasure to be able to welcome somebody who has spent a lifetime giving voice to the working class, expressing our hopes and dreams, our fears, all of the things that makes us human, and has done that with a voice that resonated across generations. So I have to tell you, we're damn sure about this. We need no damn kings. But I'll tell you what I'm glad we have. We do need a boss. Please welcome Bruce Springsteen to the stage.
Yeah, they bring out the celebrities, don't they? Both sides do. I think the Democrats have higher profile
Minnesota!
mainstream celebrities.
All right. Hey, it's turning into a beautiful day. Well, this past winter, federal troops brought death and terror to the streets of Minneapolis. Well, they picked the wrong city. The power and the solidarity of the people of Minneapolis and of Minnesota was an inspiration to the entire country. Your strength and your commitment told us that this is still America. And this reactionary nightmare and these invasions of American cities will not stand. You gave us hope, you gave us courage, and for those who gave their lives, Renee Good, mother of 3, brutally murdered, Alex Preddy, VA nurse, executed by ICE, shot in the back and left to die in the street without even the decency of our lawless government investigating their deaths. Their bravery, their sacrifice, and their names will not be forgotten. Well, through the winter's ice and cold, down Nicollet Avenue, a city of flame fought fire and ice, 'neath an occupier's boots. King Trump's private army from the DHS, guns belted to their coats, came to Minneapolis to enforce their law, or so their story goes. Against smoke and rubber bullets, well, by the dawn's early light, citizens stood for justice, their voices ringing through the night. And there were bloody footprints where mercy should have stood. 2 dead left to die on snow-filled streets, Alex Preddy and Renee Good. Oh, Minneapolis, I hear your voice singing through the bloody mist. We'll take our stand for this land and the stranger in our midst. Here at home, they killed and roamed in the winter of 26. Who remember the names of those who died on the streets of Minneapolis? Trump's federal thugs beat up on his face and his chest And then we heard the gunshots, and Alex Pretty lay in the snow dead. Their claim was self-defense, sir. Just don't believe your eyes. It's our blood and bones and these whistles and phones against Miller and Noam's fucking lies. Well, Minneapolis, I hear your voice crying through the bloody mist. We'll remember the names of those who died on the streets of Minneapolis. They say they're here to uphold the law, but they trample on our rights. If your skin is black or brown, my friend, you'll be questioned and deported on sight. In our chance of ice out now, let me hear you. In our chance of ice out now, let me hear you. In our chance of ice out now, our city's heart and soul persist through broken glass and bloody tears on the streets of Minneapolis. Well, Minneapolis, I hear your voice crying through the bloody mist. Here in our home, they killed and roamed in the winter of 26. We'll take our stand for this land and the stranger in our midst. We'll remember the names of those who died on the streets of Minneapolis. We'll remember the names of those who died on the streets of Minneapolis. Thank you, Minneapolis, St. Paul. No kings, no war. Thank you, Minnesota.
There were some of these protests in Canada as well. This was out in Vancouver today.
This is everyone. We are all in this together to build a better world. We have a few people we're going to hear from. Thank you so much for coming.
And the DSA have got to be prepared.
Yes, it was very nice.
Welcome. you disagree with them?
Check 1, 2. Check. This one needs work. Check 1, 2. Hey, check 1, 2. One, two.
You guys ready to fight?
So they're saying maybe as many as 7 million people in the streets across the U.S. today.
Gays against Nazis. Interesting.
I don't know how you count. I've done that sort of by going city to city in the past, and yeah, somebody's making a comment about the chat window in the previous video being disabled. That's not here. That's from the feed. That's a feed coming through. That's not our chat window. That was the raw feed coming in, and they disabled the chat window for that. Not me.
Oh, you're still there. Okay.
No, that's okay. No, just so you know, it's...
So the protesters rallying really against Donald Trump and his administration, focusing on what they describe as authoritarian overreach. The list of grievances today include, of course, the ongoing war in Iran, the aggressive immigration enforcement by ICE, including the recent fatal shootings of civilians, monitoring agents in Minnesota, rising living costs, federal crackdowns in cities.
Don't give up the fight. Hey,
And this in Vancouver, but the flagship event was in Minnesota.
What's that? Oh, look, they want to punch Nazis. Sounds very loving and peaceful.
And that song you heard from Bruce Springsteen, apparently that was a song debuting a new protest anthem.
Do you notice how many white people are here? Dan. Don't point me out.
When I say celebrities, they have the celebrities out there today, including me and Jane Fonda.
No, I'm not.
Now a serial protester, but out there today reading a statement from the wife of Martin Good.
Oh, that's okay. Hi, everybody.
Of course, is one of the Minnesotans killed in that recent ICE-related incident. And all reports coming in suggest that overall these were peaceful events. I haven't seen any reports at this point of anyone injured or any major incidents involving confrontations or violence of any kind. Although there was some friction. I've seen some videos of some clips of pro-Trump protesters walking into the middle of protests, and people, of course, shouting at each other and clashing, but not really engaging in a violent way. There's nothing I've seen.
And let's face it, make a great entertaining. But I mean, yeah, it is sad that these people can't make the connection between the two.
Okay, so let's pause that, pull out of that, and pivot here just a little bit. Yeah, I do know that in Washington as well, they saw thousands march across the Frederick Douglass Memorial Bridge toward the National Mall chanting, "Free DC." They were carrying signs, they had costumes on and carrying puppets and effigies. San Francisco protesters formed a massive human banner at the Ocean Beach before marching down Market Street to Civic Center Plaza. In Los Angeles, they had thousands near City Hall, complete with the familiar giant Trump baby blimp floating overhead. Philadelphia, Chicago, smaller towns from Maine to Georgia reported strong turnouts today, with people of all ages lining roads, honking in support, and then conservative narrators doing their best to sort of downplay it, saying that it was a flop. Again, you can assess for yourselves. There's no question. A lot of people in the streets. Law enforcement reported again no widespread violence or major arrests. As I said, a handful of verbal exchanges in some communities, including in West Palm Beach, Florida, near Trump property, where they had about 50 counter-protesters show up. There was a brief scuffle there, damaged a camera, but again, nothing major. The White House has dismissed the protests as, oh, what else? Trump derangement syndrome. In fact, I think they've altered the phrase today just a little bit, calling it Trump derangement therapy sessions. And of course, Trump has made a habit of mocking these demonstrations. Let's go to the Truth Social website, their platform, and just do the Trump scroll, shall we? Let's see if he posted anything today. I checked earlier, and I didn't see anything from the president on Truth Social with regard to this, which has surprised me, frankly. I thought he's going to post something. He certainly did the last time, but not seeing it earlier, so let's go there now. Let's see what we have. Has he taken the bait? Let's get that page up. Come on, computer. There we go. What's the president saying? Trump RX. Something about Letitia James. He's posting about Iran. That was just about an hour ago. No, Trump is not losing his nerve on Iran. Something in the Washington Post and an op-ed in there. I don't know if we'll go there or not. Anything on these protests today? Iran. That's somebody else posting, but it's on his feed, or it appears to be anyway. This is from this is Laura Marks reposting this or posting it. I'm not sure which. Long live the king. No kings, but they're making him out to be a king. Okay, whatever, man. Peace through strength, kicking ass. Yeah, he's Captain Ass Kicker. No, he's not. We've got the authentic Captain Ass Kicker here. And these are not actually on Trump's on his page. Let's go back up here and make sure we go back to his feed. There we go. Yeah. But the Senate, this is a day ago. He didn't take the bait as far as I can see. I'm not seeing Trump with any posts here about these No Kings rallies. Talking about Trump derangement syndrome. But, you know, the whole MAGA sphere has begun to, you know, in many ways, to like break down. There's this huge division. A lot of it is because of the war. There's no doubt that he has lost a lot of his base. And even, you know, if you look at what has gone on over at InfoWars, where Alex Jones came out and endorsed Trump, but you've seen even divisions over there within InfoWars itself, which happens from time to time, where in the past we've seen David Knight leave, and then most recently this feud between Alex Jones and Owen Schroyer. Schroyer has left InfoWars. Now he has come out very vocal and strongly has pivoted away from Trump. This really brought to my attention. I was aware that some of this was going on, but I didn't realize how strongly Owen Schroyer has come out to voice his opposition to Donald Trump. So I went to his most recent, I think this is his most recent broadcast, and just listen to the way he speaks about Trump now. This is huge. This really shows that Trump has serious problems.
These things they kind of just mesh right now. But the
And
real
very critical
debate is
again
happening
of
on the American right, and that's the truth.
The MAGA base.
That's the truth. The real political debate about what needs to happen in this country and where it's going is happening on the American right in this moment. That's what's going on. So moving on from that, they can't believe Trump is actually unpopular. They think it's just anti-Trump propaganda. They can't believe Trump is corrupt. They just think it's anti-Trump propaganda. And so they're kind of stuck in this loop like the boy that cried wolf, but now the wolf is here, but they don't believe it because there's been so many false cries over the years. I look at it like this. I've got all of these Trump clips. I can't even keep up, which, I mean, I guess you could say is impressive for the old man, although he was falling asleep in a meeting today. But I've said before, I don't really, I'm not so upset about the napping, to be honest with you. Let the guy take a nap. But it's just become a TV show. It is just the Trump TV show is all it is. It's just Trump TV now. I think that's how they approach it. I really do. I feel like they just approach this like it's a TV show. And I suppose that's just natural when you've got the press obsessed with you all day long and you kind of are a showman. You kind of are a TV guy. You do, you wear the makeup, you do the showmanship. So it's like, okay, it kind of fits. It just feels like that's what this is now. It feels like we're just watching Trump TV every day. And there really is no script. It's just wake up, cake up, makeup. That's what we're going to say. Trump's routine. Wake up, cake up. It's a makeup they cake on his face. And then just get in front of the media and just yap. Just start talking. Just talk. It's like, does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Is it consistent? Who cares? Just sit up there and just talk. So it feels like that's where we're at. And I see this other buzz phrase, let's call it, because I get it a lot. They say, oh my gosh, you're a liberal. You don't like Trump. You're a liberal now. You don't support Trump. You're a leftist now. Well, hold on a second. You realize that supporting Trump is not a policy, right? Like, do you realize that? It's actually amazing to watch. I guess it was always that way, but now they've just been isolated, so it's clear to see. The average Trump supporter now is very low IQ. They're not very politically informed people. They don't really have much political context. They're pretty much geopolitically ignorant. And so you see the average Trump supporter now it's like the lowest IQ base I've seen in politics. I mean, it rivals the Biden support, to be honest. It's like the Biden supporters kind of knew that they were playing a game. The Biden supporters kind of knew it was all kind of an act. And they kind of knew it deep down. These Trump supporters really believe it. And so now that actual political intellectuals and philosophers, however you want to say it, that supported Trump, now that they're off the Trump train, the average IQ has dropped into the double digits now. And so you can see it. So you have to explain these concepts because this is how dumb they are. You don't support Trump, so you're a liberal. You realize, okay, supporting Trump is not a policy. You realize that. That's not a policy. You're talking about a cult of personality. Supporting Trump is not a policy. And if you want to look at the policies of Trump, quite frankly, they're more leftist, more globalist than they are conservative and nationalist. That is just a fact. I see Trump up there. I've got the clip today. And he's talking about saving money. Is this a joke? Saving money? Bro, you've put the country in more debt than any other president. It's not even close. You don't even have a close second. And you're talking about how you're saving the country money? Like, is that a joke? Does he even know what he's saying? Does he even know the numbers? So he's not conservative. There's nothing conservative. You say, well, he's secured the border. Well, why is that a conservative thing? Isn't that basic law enforcement? Isn't that basic national security? I guess it's a conservative thing now. There's no conservative economic policy. There's no nationalist foreign policy. It's globalism now. Trump's a globalist. Trump is definitively a globalist. And I don't know if I would say he's a liberal, but he's not a conservative. You don't support Trump, so you're a liberal. Supporting Trump is not a policy. If you want to talk about policy, then we can talk about policy. But you guys can't talk about policy. You're not smart enough. All you know is Trump. That is it. All you know is Trump and different ways to massage him and clean up after him and worship him and obsess with him. That's all you guys know. And none of that is policy. That's cheerleading. That's cultish.
I can't really disagree. I'm like, And you have to remember, this is a guy, he went to jail because he went to the J6 thing, right? Yeah, he spent some time behind bars for the cause, as it were. And the president of peace taking us to war. It's just too much. Man alive. What can I tell you? This war with Iran now entering its second month. Well, it'll be over in no time. We're no boots on the ground. No, we're not doing that. He has troops going there. He has, bombs dropping constantly. Well, he says they're negotiating for peace. Everything is just propaganda. Today, the conflict in Iran showed dangerous new signs of spreading, even though Trump keeps saying, oh, yeah, they're begging for a deal. It doesn't look like it because Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels launched their first missile attack on Israel since the war began last month. Israeli defenses intercepted that projectile, but this marks the Houthis' official entry into the fighting in support of Tehran. Well, official, whatever. They've been involved since before the beginning. Here's, I believe this is a report of a possible Iranian drone impact on the U.S. consulate in Erbil amid this massive drone swarm that hit northern and eastern Iraq tonight. This posted just moments ago. Explosions in both Baghdad and Erbil. And let's take a look. Here it is. This is the clip. Doesn't look much like peace is spreading in the Middle East. What wasn't there that historic peace deal thing with the Gaza, and have they built the resort there yet? I'm not sure. I think that maybe they're still working on the blueprints for all of their resorts. I think maybe Trump might have a new Trump resort with golf course there. Iranian rockets, as I said, raining down on Israel tonight. This is in southern Israel. North, center, south, all under fire this evening. Houthi missile from Yemen, as I said, also being taken out, but reached there nevertheless. In every corner of Israel, the people there find themselves under attack tonight. No audio on this as far as I know. You see the incoming. Again, even when he declared that the war in Gaza was over and peace and blah 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 blah. And and I'm like, no, this is not peace. This is a joke. Does that look like peace to you in the Middle East? It doesn't look like peace to me at all. Where is the board of peace through all of this? What happened to them? They're paying a pretty penny for peace. Aren't they supposed to be the ones who are going to bring it to us? Neutering the UN and taking over somehow after paying $1 billion for a permanent seat on the board of peace? I think Owen Schreier has some valid points, frankly. Here, let's take a look at this one. A massive Iranian drone swarm from another angle here tonight in Israel. I've seen reports too, with the Pentagon, some people concerned about the way the United States is burning through its armaments. They've fired off hundreds of Tomahawk missiles. Each one of those things is worth about a couple of $1 million. And they're precision weapons. They're not, weapons of mass destruction. They're designed to hit a very specific target, pinpoint accuracy. That's the power of the Tomahawk missile. Very expensive. You fire hundreds of those things, but what's the ultimate impact? Well, they decapitated the leadership of Iran. They appear to be trying to find someone who will betray the government and accept U.S. terms essentially for surrender, and then take on some role as a puppet dictator within the country. But that hasn't worked so far, with some of their diplomatic efforts being exposed. The incompetence, honestly, of what's been going on, not of the U.S. military, which has been doing its job with precision. This is the incompetence of the Trump administration, Trump himself, and people like Mr. Witkoff, who just don't seem to be getting the job done. Not peace. And the people are suffering as a result. Here's Kuwait. Footage of an airport fuel tanks engulfed in flames tonight. After an Iranian drone strike there. Pretty clear Trump was not anticipating or expecting or planning or could not foresee the way Iran was going to respond to this war. And this threatens to not just destabilize, but to plunge the Western economies, the economies of the Western world, our economy, into a recession or worse, maybe, with 20% of the world's oil supply, as you keep hearing, dependent on flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. It remains blocked tonight with only approved vessels approved by Iran. Those are the only ones getting through. And oil prices, as a result, spiking again. Overnight into today, U.S.-Israeli forces continuing their heavy airstrikes across Iran. They hit military, government, and infrastructure targets. American officials now say more than 11,000 targets have been struck since Operation Epic Fury was launched back on February 28th, a month ago. Recent Israeli strikes targeted Iranian nuclear sites, including a heavy water plant and a yellowcake or uranium processing facility. No casualties or radiation leaks reported from that. That should scare the living daylights out of us. Iran has vowed retaliation because of that. Iranian forces struck back with an attack on a U.S. military base in Saudi Arabia, wounded at least 15 American service members there, 5 of them seriously. Overall, now more than 300 U.S. troops have been injured in the conflict so far. A lot of concerns about the welfare of American service members there and others who might be forced into the fray. On the diplomatic front, Trump again extending his deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Some say he's talking out. Others are calling it diplomacy or 5D chess. Trump's saying that these are talks that he's trying to engage in to end the war, and he says that they are going very well. Iran publicly denies any negotiations are underway. And Iran insists the waterway remains closed to vessels from nations it considers enemies. The war, which began with strikes that killed Iran's supreme leader and top commanders, has already displaced millions and triggered proxy attacks across the entire region, including in Lebanon and the Gulf. Analysts warning the conflict risks drawing in even more actors, with some of the other Gulf states now beginning to quote international law, but they haven't quite begun any kind of a major pushback. I think they're looking for a way out of this thing so that they don't get drawn into it, but some of them are now talking about taking defensive actions, which would draw them into the conflict. By doing what he did, Trump is all kind of forcing the hand of other nations that don't want to be involved, forcing them to become involved in order to save their economies. And yes, global oil markets remain under severe strain from this now month-long conflict. He said it was going to be over in 4 weeks. We're on 4 weeks. It's not over, and it doesn't look like it's going to be over anytime soon. We are seeing escalation. The effective disruption, some call it a near closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which normally carries, again, 1/5 of the world's oil and natural gas supply, has triggered what many energy experts are calling an unprecedented crunch. This is worse than what happened in the 1970s when Carter was president. And the oil shock because of OPEC at the time. As of this morning, Brent crude, the global benchmark, stood at $112.50 a barrel, up more than 50% since the war began last month. West Texas Intermediate crude has followed a similar surge. U.S. gasoline prices have climbed more than 30%, now averaging nearly $4 a gallon at the pump in many areas, and some places approaching $6 a gallon now. The crunch is already hitting economies worldwide. Analysts say the sustained high energy costs are fueling inflation. I saw it at the grocery store for sure yesterday when I was there. As I said, some things that were, $10 just a few days ago, now $11, $11.50. This was $14, now it's $15.50. Everything on grocery store shelves. You can blame whoever you want, but I'm telling you, it's because of the man in the White House getting us into this mess. Maybe it was inevitable. You can view it any way you want. The impact is undeniable, though. Infrastructure damage in the Gulf, from LNG plants in Qatar to oil facilities elsewhere, could take years to repair, locking in higher prices, even if this fighting now eases. Closer to home, in the United States, they're feeling the pinch hardest on consumers and businesses. High fuel costs are pushing up everything, as I said, from groceries to airline tickets and manufacturing expenses. In some countries, they're talking already about, problems with airlines accessing fuel in the weeks ahead. Economists now warn that this war has measurably increased recession risks here at home, with core inflation forecasts being revised upward. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve remains largely untouched for now, but some countries have reportedly promised to release some oil from their reserves, but it will only be enough, from what I've read so far, to ease the pressure on the oil markets for maybe 4 days. Now, here in Canada, because we're a major oil exporter, we have a more mixed picture. Alberta's oil sands and Western producers are seeing revenue gains from the price spike. Now, that could boost actually national GDP and energy sector jobs here in Canada. But for consumers, for the average Canadian, this can be a big problem. Yesterday when I was out, we were approaching $1.70 per liter for gasoline. Canadian drivers and industries reliant on imported refined products or higher transport costs are already feeling the pain at the pump and in supply chains. So overall, Ottawa is watching closely as the net benefit to the energy sector is partially offset by broader inflationary pressures. Energy ministers, oil executives meeting this week warned of long-term global damage if the Hormuz disruptions continue. Some nations are already exploring these emergency conservation measures that I mentioned. Shorter work weeks, remote schedules, even fuel rationing discussions. Some describing them as, potentially energy lockdowns, if you want to frame it that way. It's rationing, and we've been through it before. I think that what we're facing here is potentially something much more severe, and it highlights the Achilles heel of Western society: energy, oil. Oil is the lifeblood of the economy. It's tied directly to the value of the U.S. dollar. Or I should say the value of the U.S. dollar is pegged to the value of oil, essentially. What will the long-term impact be? Don't know. What a roller coaster ride this one is. Bad judgment. Not wise. Hubris from the White House.
Greetings, brave mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So the U.S. is fighting back Or I say they're fighting back. They're supposed to be on the attack. I guess they're on the attack. Are they going to take Carg Island? Who the hell knows? I'll tell you this. I was listening to a bunch of different podcasters overnight talking about this war. So much of it. It's just propaganda. It's spinning the narrative, reinforcing the messaging, from one to the other. This is on the conservative side, the Trumposphere out there, and everyone that I'm listening to, I'm getting the same talking points. That's the way they do it. Repeat. It's advertising. This war didn't start with Donald Trump. It started in 1979, and this is the narrative. It started with the Iran hostage crisis. It started way before that, if you want to talk about it in those terms. But what was the imminent threat right now? They don't really want to talk about that. They need to reach back to 1979, honestly, in order to find the justification for this war. In a way, it's like, where do you want, at what point on the timeline do you want to insert the justification? This is the way it goes with any war. See, if he had been a little clearer off the hop, he might have actually had some support and some allies there with him. But so far, it's been Israel and America alone. Well, together, the two, right? Whatever. So, where are you now? International law out the window. There's no justification, no authorization for Congress. But now we're in for a penny, as I said, in for a pound last night. And it's not just America because it's not just America alone. It's the whole world because of what Donald Trump has done, creating this destabilization. And I don't know where you end up. See, the result of this is that now all those people in Iran hate me. Get it? And I didn't want to do this. I didn't have any say. Did you have a say? I guarantee you that people over in Iran right now are viewing even Canada, just because we're an ally of the United States, as, part of the evil empire or whatever, however the great Satan, whatever you want to call us. So we're going to get lumped in, and of course we are going to be there with the United States. But I don't think it had to be like this. That's my opinion. But now you've got a lot of really angry people. And the very people I think that Trump promised to support when he was saying, rise up, overthrow your government, I will back you up. And then he didn't. And then many of those people were slaughtered. And where does that leave us? He's got everybody fighting. See, so now you get sucked into it whether you like it or not. What a strategy! Is that 5D chess? I'm kind of over there with Owen Schroyer to some degree, saying, "What the hell are you doing?" And others who just said, why are we going to war? But different people don't want to go to war for different reasons. So even if you get past this, now you've got this whole other layer of politics that will come into play, and it sort of never ends, right? I just wish we had a better option, period, instead of more of this. In Tehran, fuel depot going up in flames. Like, holy crap. Okay? Like, holy crap. My God. And then everybody's worried about climate change because of carbon. And I don't think there are any catalytic converters or pollution control systems on that fire. That's just straight oil into the atmosphere. How much of that has been spewed into the into the air that sustains the earth. And they're worried about you driving your car. For me, at this point, it's like, okay, I wish we could get off the oil, because if we got off the oil, then maybe we wouldn't have to deal with any of this stuff over there at all. I'm pretty certain we wouldn't have to, not to this degree. A lot of the problems that we have might be solved, but then we're fighting over other kinds of energy. But hey, then there's nuclear energy, right? And we're making these now modular nuclear power facilities, which are going to power these. I don't know what they're going to power with it, because they're still going after the oil in order to power these AI data centers, some of which they want to build out in Alberta. The nuclear power. I've said for a long time, if you want to electrify even the automobiles that we drive, and do that en masse, you need nuclear power. Nothing else will cut it. You'll never produce enough electricity unless you use nuclear power. But in Iran, Trump is demanding that Iran give up its entire, even civilian nuclear power program, which they're not going to do. 15-point plan 15 points of submission that he has submitted to Iran. And then on the other side, you see the Iranians with a list of demands of their own, which include things like the United States paying reparations for all of the damage that has been inflicted because of these attacks on their infrastructure, on buildings, on everything over there. I don't know how you replace the loss of life. And they're also demanding that the United States actually leave the Gulf entirely. Get out of there. That's how Iran is justifying the attacks on the Gulf states, because they have U.S. military bases there. They're saying, if you've got the military bases, then you're part of this. And those bases are, fair targets. More than that, I think they're saying that the countries are fair targets. And you've got the UAE and billionaires and all the well-heeled from around the world, the elites, if you will, and they've been investing money there and setting up nice little lives for themselves, thinking or being sold on this idea that it's the safest place on earth, and clearly it's not. When did anybody get that in their heads? I could have told you a long time ago that might not be the safest place in the world, given how destabilized, how unstable the whole region is. Because why? Because of the oil and the religion. Conflicting religions, factions, U.S. in there, Christians, Muslims. Oh, yeah, that's like oil and water. Unless carefully managed. And even then, I don't know, because we're dealing with human beings and prejudice and anger and human brains on propaganda. Being programmed. So tonight, what are we seeing over in the UK? Reform UK officially launched its London campaign for local elections there with a high-profile rally in Croydon this evening. Party leader Nigel Farage being joined by London mayoral candidate Layla Cunningham at Fairfield Halls, where they urged voters to back reform in the May the 7th polls for borough councillors and the Croydon mayor. Now, this event focused on tackling Croydon's high council debt, rising crime, and what the party calls years of failure by the main parties on local services and council tax. Nigel Farage describing the May elections as a vital chance for change across London. And of course, I think, the signature issue for reform is immigration. And we will go now to that speech. Let's pick up Nigel Farage at this rally for reform.
Good evening, Croydon! And good evening, London. And we're here in Croydon at the launch of our London election campaign. All 32 boroughs, I was going to say in this great city, but maybe I should say in our once great city. Sadly, but it's true, isn't it? We're in trouble. Our capital city is in trouble. Can you imagine, in the most fashionable parts of central London, men now don't wear... Oh, we got a screamer! We got a screamer! Way! Boring! 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 Oh, it's... Boring! Well, that was fun, wasn't it? And do you know what I'd say to that young man? Do you know what I'd say? I'd say this. What other party leader in modern Britain would have a public event in the Fairfield Halls in Croydon and invite anyone to come along and listen to what I have to say? And you know what? You can agree, you can disagree, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Who else would come along and do that? Listen, mate, you'll have a coronary. You'll have a coronary. Do you know, I'd pay to watch this. And that is what well, as I always say, boring, boring, boring. But there's something fundamentally wrong with that behaviour. Because what we're doing here is having free, open, democratic debate. And the vast majority of you here in this room this evening have never been to a reform event. You've made up your minds up, but you've come along because you're curious, you're interested. I repeat the point. What other party leader dares to go out and confront the public? I do. Now, this is not my first appearance on the stage at the Fairfield Halls. I've been here before, but it was 1975 in a choir. So there you are. So I was wondering whether I should sing this evening. No, 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 absolutely not. Absolutely not. But we are here at the launch of our London campaign. And I worry about a capital city in which men can't wear watches, women can't wear jewellery, where crime is rampant, out of control, and now so serious that people don't even bother, in many cases, to report it. Mobile phone theft. Well, of course, it happened to... Don't you believe him? No, nor do I. But we all know what's going on in our capital city. And if there was ever an example, because our national slogan is Britain is broken, Britain needs reform. But if London is broken, maybe in terms of local government, the most broken of all is Croydon. Bankrupted by bad management, by bad local government. Do you know what? Not only can we do better, but we will do better than what Croydon's had and London's had before. And you know, despite the fact that it's about local elections and local government, it's about how much council tax you pay. And by the way, we won 10 councils outright in England last year, and I'm proud to say, 1 year on, our council tax rises are lower than those of all the other parties. We will keep your council tax down. And we will stop, we will end excessive expenditure and madness like DEI policy. We don't believe in it. We believe in meritocracy. We believe regardless of who you are, where you're from, what age you are, what class, race, religion you are, we will judge you as an individual and not stick you into different categories. And we'll run our councils as we'll run the country if we get the chance to win the next general election. And we'll run them all respecting one fundamental and vital truth. And that is that everything about this country, everything about our culture, everything about our civilization, whilst it's based on tolerance for all, is underpinned by the Judeo-Christian principles that made our country what it is. So, of course, it's about local government. But you know what? Many people who vote in local elections actually vote on national political issues. This will become a referendum on the leadership of Sir Keir Starmer. Isn't he hopeless? I watched him. July the 5th, 2024, he just won the general election. He walked into Downing Street to give a 9-minute speech, but he kept looking down at his notes. In 9 minutes, he looked down at his notes 158 times. Like a pigeon in Trafalgar Square. I mean, he's scripted, he's told what to say, he's told what to think, and that's why this Wednesday, just gone, when I asked a very serious question in Parliament, about 1,000 people in the last week coming across the English Channel, young men, many of whom will pose a threat to women and girls in this country, some of whom will pose a threat to our national security because we haven't got a clue who they are. And he refused to answer my question, so I got up and I walked out of the House of Commons in total disgust. But he's got a new master plan. Oh yeah. He's going to make Sir Sadiq Khan Lord Khan. Put him in the House of Lords. Well, you saw Layla earlier. Hasn't she got the spirit, the belief, the conviction to be a better mayor of London? And that all comes in a couple of years' time. But what happens on May the 7th is a stepping stone to getting rid of Starmer. A stepping stone to getting rid of the ghastly Sadiq Khan and getting London back on the right track. And just look at what he's done as Prime Minister. This is the most unpatriotic Prime Minister Britain has ever had in its lifetime. He continues to pursue endless legal actions against British servicemen for things that happened 30, 40, 50 years ago. He gives away British sovereign territory in the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, who've never had any right of claim over those islands historically whatsoever. In doing so, he threatens our relationship with America, and he betrays those poor Chagossian people who we treated so badly all those years ago. And I'm very proud to say that we as a party want to right that wrong. And I'm very pleased that in the audience tonight, we've got Chagossians. Where are you? There they are. Where are you? Bring us your flag. Come on, bring us your flag. Bring us your flag. Bring us, come on, bring me one of your flags. These people want to stay British. These people want the right to resettle their land. And these people have the most incredible flag I've ever seen. We will stand up for the Chagossian people, for what is right and decent. Okay, sorry. We got it. Give that back to the guys. But it's so typical of Starmer, isn't it? Human rights for everybody apart from these people. We will right that wrong. We will keep Chagos British, maintain our relationship with America, and give these people a future in their homeland. But what have we sunk to? What have we sunk to? Today, in the Telegraph, there was the obituary of 109-year-old Harry Waddingham, sunk twice in the war, once off Dunkirk and once in the Mediterranean, and survived and lived to 109. When we, as we've done for centuries, relied on sea power, we've always been a great maritime nation. It's been the source of our wealth, our influence, and our power. It now takes us 3 weeks and 1 day to send a single naval vessel to defend British sovereign territory in Cyprus. And the Prime Minister's proud of it. But after 14 years of the Conservatives running down our defences, a Labour government who promise they'll do something but do nothing because they're too busy upping welfare benefits, we've sunk, haven't we? We've sunk. We've sunk in terms of our own sense of pride and our standing in the world. We can't even have a sensible energy policy. Now, I can see Rachel Reeves blaming the Iran war for energy prices and all the rest of it. The fact is, we now import the vast majority of oil and gas still needed in this country from overseas at massively inflated cost. We have the highest industrial energy prices in the world because we've bowed down to the god of net zero. We alone will solve global warming by closing down the whole of British industry, by exporting millions of jobs to India, to China, to elsewhere, and then importing the goods back into our country. Have you ever heard of such a mad case of economic harry-carry as not producing our own oil and gas? It is quite incredible, but it's not just the Labour government. It's not just Red Ed. It was Boris, wasn't it? Boris. We're going to become the Saudi Arabia of wind. All right, I'm not Rory Bremner, I get it. Both parties have pursued a lunatic policy that leaves us now in a position where if things go wrong in Iran, there will be energy rationing in our nation when we have an estimated 10 billion barrels of oil and gas. And reforms say, let's produce all the energy we need in our own country, give consumers cheaper prices, start reindustrializing our country, making the products we need, producing millions of good jobs and huge amounts of tax revenue. Let's be self-sufficient in our own nation. But we have to change the culture of Britain. The culture of Britain has to change. We have to start telling kids at school that hard work is the only route to success. There are no shortcuts in life. And, you know, work-life balance, all the rest, it sounds lovely. But we're now putting increasing millions onto benefits, people who in some cases are not well enough to work. Well, we'll support them, won't we? We will, as a civilized society, we'll support those that can't look after themselves. But I'm sorry, how can anybody go onto mental health disability, not have the option to work because they suffer from mild anxiety? I suffer from mild anxiety every morning when I wake up. And it's not fair on those that do work. And our voters, our supporters, are Alarm Clock Britain. Our people get up, go to work, pay their taxes, they're paying more and more and more, and what they're doing is supporting millions who opt not to work. We have picked a side, and we support working people, we support small businesses, we support sole traders, and that is the way forward for our country. The only way forward for our country. Now, some of this is tough stuff for others to get their heads round, because the consensus has been you can't say anything that upsets certain sections of the electorate. But I'm honest enough to know that Britain is going bust. I'm honest enough to know that our situation with law and order has never, ever been worse. I'm old enough to know that we're in moral decline, where the difference between right and wrong has frankly been lost. I mean, you can shoplift now. You pop down the Whitgift Centre, nick up to 200 quid's worth and not even get prosecuted. It's got to stop. We have to get back and return to common sense, decent values in our country. And you know, it's remarkable that we've sunk to these depths without anything happening. Well, you know what, folks? It is now happening. I, 20 months ago, made, I think, the most difficult decision of my life, which was to get back involved in active politics. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But it was a tough decision because life was pretty good. I was turning 60, first couple of grandkids on the way, settled, happy life, everything going well, good job at GB News. Well, it certainly wasn't the BBC, was it? Life was going well. And I knew that if I threw myself back into this, it would be the last big decision I ever made in my career, indeed probably in my life. But I did it because I simply couldn't believe that the benefits this country could have got from Brexit had frankly been squandered by a Conservative Party who never, ever believed in it. Never believed in it. Who opened up the doors after Brexit to 4.7 million new visa applications, of which only 20% were work permits. Millions of others who've come to Britain in the last few years will not work, ever, will live off the benefit system, and in too many cases not integrate into our society, or in some cases not even learn our language. That is what they did. That is what they did. And now we have a new danger in our country. Sectarianism, voting, and violence. On Monday night last week, an active terror cell in North London firebombed 4 ambulances paid for by the Jewish community. And what did Starmer say? He said, "My thoughts and sympathies are with the Jewish community." That, folks, just is not good enough. What he should have said is, we will hunt down the people who behave like this. We will end terrorism in our country. We will proscribe the Muslim Brotherhood and the Iranian IRGC as a legal organization. We will maintain the rule of law and decency in our country. He did none of those things. And now the left of politics is pandering to increased Islamic extremism to the cost of everybody. And we have to be resolute and firm. We have to say, we welcome everybody from all faiths and all religions and all cultures, as we as a country have always done, in a way that no other country in Europe has ever come close to. But if you come to live here, you can have your private observance. But if your mission is to change our way of life to your way of life, we will not put up with it, full stop. Because if we don't do that, within a few short years, this country would have ceased to exist as all of us know it. We would have betrayed not just those that made such massive sacrifice in the 20th century to defend our liberty, our freedom, our identity, and our culture, but we will literally be signing away the future of the generations to come. And it doesn't need to happen, and I'll tell you why. There is still in this country a big majority for common sense, a silent majority for decency, a silent majority that believes in a nation, a silent majority that believes in the rule of law. And what we have to do as Reform UK is to get that silent majority to speak. And you know what will happen? If they speak, we will win. We will turn around the absolute disaster that has befallen us under two weak, gutless, useless political parties that are destroying our nation. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to give leadership to this movement. I'm here to give you a voice. I'm here to urge you to please all yourselves do your bit to stand up. This is 1940 all over again. The very existence of our nation, its culture, its identity is under threat. And I'm going to do my damnedest to stand up and fight for it with everything I've got. We are building a big party. We've got the highest membership now of any party in the country. We've got great people coming forward, people prepared to make sacrifices. You've seen already our mayoral candidate for Croydon, our mayoral candidate for London. And sitting in these rows are men and women, most of whom have never been involved in politics before. So, it's all right, you're part of it, don't worry. And they've decided to put their heads up over the parapet. And I'd like to invite some of our candidates from Croydon and around to come and join me now on the stage. So you can have a look at them as an audience. Have a look at them as an audience and see what you think. Because I think they've got guts. I think they've got guts. They are prepared. They're prepared to get abuse on social media. They're prepared to have horrible things said to them by the kind of protesters we saw outside earlier. But they're showing courage and leadership in their communities. These folks are the people that will be on your ballot papers on the 7th of May. And I have to say that the old quote from years ago, that all it takes for evil to flourish is for good men to do nothing, could never have been truer in our country, our communities, our society than it is today. And all these amazing people have decided they're going to have a go. And I think a lot of them could get elected on May the 7th. Do you agree? So what really remains is for me to say to you, where's Ben? It's for me to say to you, great, to say to you, if they're prepared to stand up and be counted, I'm going to ask you, the audience, are you prepared, in whatever way it can be, to stand up and be counted, to do something to help save our once great country? Are you ready to make that commitment? I tell you what, if you're prepared to do your bit, stand up and say you're going to help us. Stand up and say you're going to support us. Stand up and say we'll fight for what is right and what is decent and what is real. Amazing. Well, that is our finale. Thank you very much indeed for coming, everybody.
Stand up and fight for the right to fight for his party.
Greetings, brave mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow, maybe too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
So, politics. We'll see how it goes. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. Sounded like speeches I've heard elsewhere. Next thing you know, we're at war. So, yeah, I don't know. Judge not by what they say, but what by they do. So, clavicular. Oh, my goodness. You know who of I speak, as I've introduced you to him when I became aware of him. Social media influencer Braden Peters, that's his real name, has now sparked outrage after a viral video from a live stream in Florida's Everglades showed him and others firing more than 25 rounds from an airboat into what appeared to be a dead alligator. Dead, maybe, living, dead. Shot a dead alligator. So some people are saying. Maybe it was alive, maybe it was dead. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission confirms it is now actively investigating the incident for possible violations involving the discharge of firearms at wildlife. No charges have been filed yet in connection with the gator video, but a lot of posts online saying that if charges are laid, if he's convicted, could go to jail for like 5 years. Now, he was arrested Thursday night in Fort Lauderdale on an unrelated misdemeanor battery charge stemming from a physical altercation at an Airbnb. That incident going back to last month, and he was booked on a warrant with bond set at $1,000. He's 20 years old. He's a big kick streamer star, social media celebrity, famous for his extreme looks maxing. And this content is under scrutiny. This content generated in the Everglades. Wildlife officials continue to probe. I have a little bit of the video here to show the bad behavior that this guy is normalizing.
Be like, come on, bro. And then look what Clive is doing. Freaking bunch of goofballs, man. Even if the gun is not loaded, like, you never point guns at another person. That's like the #1 rule when you go out shooting with your friends, especially when you're in the butt middle of nowhere, dude. There's nobody to enforce the rules. It's supposed to be whoever is the most knowledgeable one supposed to be enforcing this stuff and kind of educating, not just go freaking wild and free. But yeah, they definitely made a lot of mistakes on that live stream, dude. They should have not live streamed that. He should have been more careful and been more smart about it. And what's even crazier is that Florida's FWC has tweeted about it, and this is what they said. FWC is aware of a video depicting individuals in the Everglades on an airboat who appear to be discharging firearms and an alligator. FWC officers are looking into the incident and will provide additional information when available to report wildlife violations. Call the wildlife hotline, blah blah. But dude, FWC, they don't freaking mess around, dude. Whenever something involves animals, does not matter if it's a carcass, doesn't matter if it's alive or fish or a bird or a bug, dude, they take this stuff serious. So if they want to like pursue this and push this to make it more serious and maybe make an example out of him, this can go that far, man. They can take it pretty far and actually throw some serious charges, because as of now, since he's shooting at a dead animal, people are saying that it's not a felony, blah blah blah. Clavicular already has other felonies, other charges. Like, he technically is not even allowed to own a handgun. Like, he's still only 20 years old. So there's so many ways they can twist this and go with this, where they can just put this guy behind bars for a couple years, or even give some crazy charges and like...
Okay, that's enough. Not going to show that because, you know, it's just a taboo, especially on YouTube, so we're not doing that. My God. That video, by the way, from a channel called Knock Bump on YouTube. Commenting on it. Quite a few views on that. So, clickbait there, clickbait here, and people are saying, oh, he's done now. He's done now. I think he has been. Let me just check and see if this is still holding. Yeah, and so big star on the Kick video platform, but his account there now, because of this incident, he's been banned from Kick. And that has, yeah, it's been confirmed. It's still current as of tonight. He was one of their biggest stars on a video platform that, honestly, I don't think they have that much of an audience over there, enough to make this guy some serious cash. He's been suspended in the past, though, during short periods of time. And people are saying, oh, he's done now. He's done. No, I don't think so. See, this kind of stuff, it just reinforces his bad boy image. He'll just, I'm editorializing, this won't hurt him at all. This will elevate him. What am I doing here? I'm talking about him, even here tonight. Giving him more publicity, raising his profile, and this just gets him talked about more. It'll make him bigger than ever. Isn't that strange how that works? It's always been thus, I think. See, yeah, he not done. He'll be rewarded for this in the end. Even if he apologizes and expresses remorse for his actions. Putting lead into a dead gator. He's scored points, man. That's the way social media works. That's the way politics works too, largely. But it fractures, you know, the populist movement. It struggles to remain cohesive. It tends to fly apart. That's the way it has always been through history, because it attracts people to a single issue, binds them for a moment, but then all the other issues make it fly apart because they come from different sections of the political spectrum. And that's why we saw Joe Rogan this week talking about MAGA dorks, right? And so we were laughing about that last night. And I don't know what to make of the reform movement, honestly, at this point. I don't know enough about it. to know where that's likely to go. I know they're gaining some traction. And Nigel Farage, of course, very influential and popular in the UK. So he's a powerful leader for them. A lot of the rhetoric I've heard over on the Trump side, but as I say now, we're at war. So beware all politicians, for they all tend to speak with forked tongues. The proof is always in their actions, not just in what they write, not just in what they say. And be careful who you vote for, because they often end up with nuclear weapons at their disposal. At least in our society anyway. So with that, I will leave you with this tonight from our favorite band, Maverick and the News Brothers. See you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. On the flip side.
He's gone insane. Rattling sabers, barking out loud. He wants to end it all in a mushroom cloud. Putin threatens us, Donnie threatens them. We're caught in the middle, here we go again. They'll blow us all up into tiny smithereens. Donnie Destructo and his war machine. He waves the football high in the air, snarling at Putin like a billionaire bear. Total destruction, he grins with glee, playing real life Risk on your TV. Oh, Putin threatens us, Donnie threatens them. Their doomsday clock ticks down to the end. They'll blow us sky high into tiny smithereens. Donnie Destructo and his war machine. Launch codes in his pockets, rage in his tweets. He's got the power. One press for permanence to delete. Putin threatens us, Donnie threatens them. He promised peace, but never said when. He's got the bombs and warhead dreams. Donnie Destructo, he'll blow us all to smithereens.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.